Mr. Donalds is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I got to tell you, Congress is a funny place. We like scheduling all our hearings at 10 o'clock. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, we have many hours in the day, but Congress likes 10 a.m. Okay. Real quick, I just want to kind of get a quick recap of some of the stuff I missed coming in late, and I do apologize. I thank you all for taking your time to be here. You got it? You good? I got it. All right, cool. It's all right, you know, trying to make sure things are right. So real quick, Dr. Theodos, Ms. Russell, what are your recommendations with respect to small businesses in the United States, small business lending in particular, and access to capital? If you can summarize it briefly, I don't have the clock in front of me, so.
Definitely. I think we're on the same page in terms of looking at really good banking and understanding how to get responsible lending out to the small businesses and understanding the levels of programs that are there, the predatory lending programs. Just we have to have the regulations around them so that they go away. Quite frankly.
Quick question. So what would you define as predatory lending?
Some folks look at the word factoring as a great, wonderful thing, but factoring when you are in a not in a great place with your organization, it can take you out, right? It's a method of funding that looks at your receivables, and they will lend you based on your receivables, but then they're adding a percentage to that. And some businesses use that well because they're getting a low percentage on that, and some businesses don't understand that and use it really poorly, right, because they're getting 20%. So for every dollar, you're paying that factoring agency 20%. So if you're paying them 20%,
right.
You can see how that math works, yeah. Specifically
about factoring, and I'm aware of the process. I actually looked at a factoring proposal when I was helping a nonprofit to start up. Is the issue the actual process of factoring, or is it, and I'm going to use your words from the previous line of questioning, the technical assistance or the actual know-how of how factoring works and the intimate knowledge of a business owner with their capability to grow their business while actually having to repay the money that they borrowed?
Exactly. I think we would all agree that when you're starting a business, you're starting it because you love the thing that you're doing. A hairstylist, as you were mentioning earlier, doesn't start the business because she wants to do accounting. She starts the business because she loves styling hair. And so as she's learning to develop that infrastructure for herself, the technical assistance becomes very important. I might need a loan. How does that work? If I don't understand all of the products that are available, I am going to become prey to factoring because as soon as I establish my company, they're setting up to come in and contact me.
I got to because I'm wondering now. I saw it over in the corner. Real quick, Mr. Theodos, summarize, Dr. Theodos, my apologies, summarize for me what your recommendations are.
Fundamentally, if we want to shift the dynamics in this country, we can't do it in an entirely subsidy-neutral way. So there are strategies and approaches to work on the margins. But fundamentally, we subsidize affordable housing in this country. We have very few and limited subsidies attached to growing businesses in the U.S.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of my background. My colleagues know I was a community banker for 5.5 years. I got started in the credit department. I've written loans, anything from a mom and pop small business up to planned unit developments in Southwest Florida. I've worked in insurance. I've worked in financial services. I'm securities licensed 7 and 66. I do understand what both of you are saying with respect to access to capital, the need for just know-how of how to actually run and manage a business versus starting one and owning one. One of the things when I was in the Florida legislature that I supported very vehemently was actual courses in financial literacy for juniors in high school before they graduate. Because when you go into the real world, if you don't understand what it is to actually understand credit, manage credit, borrow money effectively, and know what the repayments are, you're going to run into significant problems, especially if you're trying to start a small business. Dr. Theodos, I think where you and I are going to disagree is when it comes to subsidies. I'm well aware of the affordable housing subsidies. I would also argue that on a macro level, the affordable housing subsidies don't have their intended effect. On a macro level, they might help individually certain people acquire homes. On a macro level, what we've seen is actually led to increased costs in housing overall because there is a backdoor subsidy coming from the federal government or from state governments. When it comes to banking in the United States, and this has been my soapbox. I know, Mr. Chairman, I'm running over. If I may have some indulgence, I'm wrapping here. My pet peeve here in Washington, frankly, has been Dodd-Frank regulation out of 2009. It systematically dismantled community banking in the United States. Without question, community banking has been eviscerated in our country because of Dodd-Frank. We were told that it was going to stop the big banks from being the scourge to our economy. What it has done is made the big banks bigger, and the community banks are no longer, can't even operate under the weight of the regulatory environment in the United States. What we should be doing in Congress to help small businesses is reverse course in banking regulation so you can still have CDFIs. Fintechs are kind of trying to fill that space with respect to small business lending. But you have to have a robust community banking environment so Ms. Russell and Ms. Rubio can have the relationships necessary to grow their small businesses in an effective, market-driven way without you guys coming here asking us to change rules every Congress. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired. Ms. J.